Bum bum. Thinking out loud.
Welcome to Thinking Out Loud, the podcast where two slightly sleep-deprived Year 12 students attempt to explain psychology while actively living through psychological stress.
Exactly. I'm Greta.
And I'm Ada.
Today's episode is about something everyone experiences, but almost nobody understands. Dreams. Those strange little movies in your brain, produced at 3 a.m. when you should be peacefully resting, but instead you're late for an exam you never studied for while riding a giraffe.
Which, scientifically speaking, is still less stressful than Year 12 exam season.
True. Now, humans have been fascinated by dreams for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians thought dreams were messages from the gods.
The ancient Greeks believed dreams could predict the future.
And modern students believe dreams are what happen when you fall asleep, watching Netflix with your laptop on your face.
Psychologists, however, have a few more structured ideas. Some believe dreams help us process emotions. Others think they help with memory consolidation, basically, your brain filling away information from the day.
So when you dream about your teacher turning into a giant chicken,
that might actually be your brain trying to organize memories, which raises the important scientific question. Why specifically a chicken?
This is the kind of groundbreaking research we aim to tackle on this podcast.
Exactly. Throughout this episode, we'll explore questions like why do we dream? Why are dreams sometimes so weird? And why does everyone suddenly become an amateur psychologist when you tell them you dreamed about your crush?
We'll also talk about famous dream theories from psychologists like Sigmund Freud, who believed dreams revealed hidden desires.
Which sounds fascinating until you realized Freud would probably interpret your dream about pizza as a deep emotional crisis.
To be fair, if the cafeteria runs out of pizza again, that is a deep emotional crisis.
But before we dive into these theories and brain science, let's start with a simple question.
What actually happens in your brain when you dream?
Because, surprisingly, dreaming isn't just random nonsense. There's a real neuroscience behind it.
So in the next section, we're going to enter the slightly chaotic world of REM sleep, brain activity, and why your brain suddenly becomes a surrealist film director at night.
Stay with us. Things are about to get weird.
But scientifically weird. Alright, so before we start analyzing why you dreamed about failing an exam while wearing roller skates, we should probably explain what's actually happening in the brain when you dream.
Because contrary to popular belief, dreaming is not just your brain playing random TikToks in your head.
Sadly.
Dreams mainly happen during a stage of sleep called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement.
And yes, that's exactly what it sounds like. When you're in REM sleep, your eyes are literally moving rapidly under your eyelids, like you're watching a movie.
But you basically are. The difference is that your brain wrote the script, directed it, and cast your maths teacher as a dragon for absolutely no reason.
During REM sleep, your brain is actually very active. In fact, brain scans show that some parts of the brain are almost as active as when you're awake.
Especially the amygdala, which is the part of the brain involved in emotions. Things like fear, anxiety, excitement.
Which might explain why dreams are often extremely dramatic. In dreams, everything is either terrifying, embarrassing, or weirdly emotional.
Exactly. Like when you dream that you forgot your entire presentation and suddenly everyone in the room is judging you.
So basically, a normal school day.
Another interesting thing, while emotional parts of the brain are very active, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logical thinking and decision-making, is less active during dreams.
Which explains why in dreams you never question anything.
Right. You could be flying over your school while talking to a cat that speaks French.
And your brain is just like, yeah, that's checked out.
Your brain also temporarily paralyzes most of your muscles during REM sleep.
Which sounds scary, but it's actually very helpful.
Because otherwise, you'd physically act out your dreams. Imagine an entire dorm of students sleep running because they're being chased by dream zombies.
Or someone trying to fight their pillow because they think it's a monster.
So basically, REM sleep is when your brain is active, emotional, creative, and slightly chaotic.
Kind of like us trying to finish assignments at 2 a.m.
The important point is that dreaming isn't meaningless. Your brain is doing real psychological work.
Which leads us to the big question psychologists have been arguing about more than a century.
Why do we dream at all?
And trust us, the answer range from processing emotions to Freud saying you dream reveals secret desires.
Which means in the next section, we're diving into one of the most famous dream theories in psychology.
including the one theory that somehow manages to make every dream awkward.
Looking at you, Freud. Alright, time for one of the biggest questions in psychology. Why do we actually dream?
And the honest answer is psychologists still argue about it a lot.
One of the most famous theories comes from Sigmund Freud, who believed dreams reveal our unconscious desires.
According to Freud, dreams are basically coded messages from your subconscious.
So if you dream about something random, like climbing a mountain or losing your keys, Freud would say it secretly represents a deeper wish or conflict.
Which sounds interesting until someone tries to psychoanalyze your dreams about eating your 3 pizzas.
Another theory is the activation synthesis theory, which suggests dreams are just the brain trying to make sense of random neural activity during sleep.
Basically, your brain receives random signals and goes, okay, let's turn this into a story.
Which explains why dreams sometimes feel like a movie written by someone who had 3 coffees and no plan.
More modern psychologists think dreams might help with processing emotions and memories.
So dreaming could be your brain organizing the events of the day, like a messy student finally cleaning their desk.
Except the desk is your memory, and instead of throwing things away, your brain turns them into a surreal short film.
So while psychologists don't completely agree on why we dream,
most agree that dreaming probably helps the brain process information and emotions.
Which means your weird dream last night might actually have a purpose.
Even the one where your teacher was a talking chicken. So now that we know dreams happen during REM sleep and might help process emotions and memories, there's still one very important question.
Yes, the question everyone secretly wants answered.
Why are dreams so ridiculously weird?
Like, seriously, 1 minute you're at school, the next minute you're suddenly in a supermarket on Mars, and your best friend is a toaster.
Psychologists think part of the reason is that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic and critical thinking, is less active during dreams.
Which means your brain basically turns off the "this makes absolutely no sense" alarm.
Meanwhile, emotional and visual parts of the brain are still very active.
So your brain is creating strong images and emotions, but without logic to keep things realistic.
Which is why dream plots make about as much sense as group projects planning in year 12.
Another reason dreams can be strange is that the brain mixes different memories together.
Your friend from school, a place you visited 3 years ago, and the random dog you saw yesterday can all appear in the same dream.
Your brain basically becomes a slightly chaotic film editor.
Except the editor is working at 4 a.m. and clearly hasn't had coffee.
So weird dreams don't mean your brain is broken.
They just mean your brain is doing its normal night shift.
And sometimes that night shift has a very strange sense of creativity. So, after all this, we arrive at the question people have been asking forever. Do dreams actually mean something?
Or are they just your brain producing a very confusing, low-budget film every night?
The truth is, it's probably a bit of both.
Some psychologists believe dreams reflect emotions concerned from our daily lives.
For example, if you're stressed about exams, you might dream about being late to school or forgetting everything during a test.
Which is interesting, because even though the situation in the dream might be unrealistic, the emotion behind it is very real.
Your brain might be using dreams as a way to process stress, fears, or important experiences.
But that doesn't mean every tiny detail has a secret meaning.
So, dreaming about flying doesn't necessarily mean you crave freedom.
And dreaming about pizza probably just means you were hungry.
Basically, dreams can sometimes reflect what's going on in your mind.
But they're not a magical code that needs to be solved like a detective mystery.
Which is slightly disappointing for anyone hoping their dream predicted the future.
Although, if anyone does dream about next week's exam questions, please let me know.
For scientific purposes, obviously.
Here's another strange thing about dreams. We spend around 2 hours dreaming every night, but most of the time we remember absolutely nothing.
Which is honestly a bit rude of our brains. If you're going to produce a full surreal film at night, at least let us remember the plot.
Psychologists think one reason we forget dreams is because the brain system responsible for forming long-term memories aren't very active during REM sleep.
So the dream happens, it's dramatic, it's emotional, and then your brain basically forgets to hit the save button.
Another reason is that when we wake up, our brain immediately focuses on the real world.
Alarms, phones, school schedules, the sudden realization you have homework due in 20 minutes.
And the dream disappears faster than your motivation on a Monday morning.
However, people are more likely to remember dreams if they wake up during or right after REM sleep.
Which explains why sometimes you wake up with a very clear memory of a dream.
And other times you just know you dreamed something, but the details vanish instantly.
So if you ever said, I had the weirdest dream, but I can't remember it,
congratulations, your brain is functioning completely normally. Before we finish, we need to talk about something very important. The most common dreams people have.
Because as unique as special as we all like to think we are,
millions of people are out there having the exact same stress dreams.
For example, the I'm late for an exam dream.
A classic. In this dream, you suddenly realize there's an exam you didn't study for.
And somehow you're also in the wrong classroom, wearing the wrong clothes, and the test is written in a language you don't speak.
Psychologists think that these dreams are linked to performance anxiety and stress.
Which means your top students are basically the target audience.
Another common one is the falling dream.
You know the one. You're falling off a cliff or down the stairs or just falling for no clear reason.
This can be connected to feeling out of control in life,
which again describes roughly 95% of our academic experience.
Then there's the being chased dream.
You're running away from something, but you never quite know what.
A monster, a stranger, a giant dog.
Or your deadliness.
Psychologists think these dreams might happen when we're avoiding a problem or stress in a real life.
Which means if you have this dream recently, you're not judging.
But maybe start that assignment.
Just suggestions.
So, if your dreams sometimes feel chaotic, stressful, or completely ridiculous,
don't worry.
Your brain is simply joining the global dream club of confused humans.
Membership is automatic. Side effects include weird storylines and occasional flying.
And that brings us to the end of our journey through the wonderfully weird world of dreams.
We've explored what happens in your brain during REM sleep, why dreams can feel completely chaotic, and why sometimes you wake up thinking, what just happened?
We also covered some famous dream theories and the reason almost everyone shares the same bizarre dream cliches. So, if you dreamed about being late to a test or suddenly flying, you're officially in good company.
The big takeaway, dreams are your brain's slightly messy, emotional, and very creative way of processing your experiences.
So the next time you find yourself in a supermarket on Mars, just remember, your brain is hard at work, even if it has a questionable sense of humor.
Thanks for listening to Thinking Out Loud. Keep dreaming, keep questioning, and maybe try not to trip over any invisible cliffs tonight.
Sleep well and dream weirdly, because that's exactly what your brain intended.